Welcome back. Next episode 9. We're moving right along with the episodes.
Yeah, guys, we got a few more before we take a hiatus.
Yeah, take a quick little mini break and then come back. I think we decided that we won't make it like a whole new
as long
season.
as we did the last time.
Yeah, we're just gonna continue it. But anyways, did we?
I don't know. It's okay. We'll talk about it after.
Okay. So yes, I hope you guys watched and enjoyed the pet peeve episode. If you haven't caught up on any of our episodes, if you're behind on episode 1, I don't know what else to tell you.
You're not our friends. You got beef with us.
You're not trying to go through your uncomfortable stage in life. That's why you're not.
You don't want to take accountability and talk about your traumas
and be vulnerable with
and
us.
See yourself in us and our fucking growing processes, right? Like our growing experiences. But it's okay. Everyone does it at their own time. But for now, we are children and we need to be validated. So I need you to like, subscribe, comment, hit that bell notification. Then that's on YouTube. But then you're gonna move over to like Apple and Spotify and you're going to 5-star and leave a comment.
Yes.
And let us know.
Let us know.
And share.
Share it. Repost it. Listen, you don't have to repost it on your IG page if it's gonna fuck up your aesthetics. But at least repost it on your IG story. Because we know Instagram with the algorithm and all that other fuckery, we get it. But the more likes and shares we get, it gets us out there. We're 2 black women trying to get out here and shit. We ain't Breakfast Club. We ain't saying all that, but
I don't want to be Breakfast Club.
Nah, not like that. But yes, yes, again, like Jessica said, please like, subscribe, share our YouTube videos for those of you who prefer YouTube. And for those of you who prefer to listen to the podcast, like you said, follow us on whatever you listen, wherever you listen to podcasts. Follow us, 5-star, comment if you're able to comment. Follow our page if you're not following it on IG. And we're available on Facebook too. Yes, we also are available on Facebook. So we post on both of those pages so you get updates. So please follow us there. So yes, last week's episode was fun. I enjoyed it. We did it on pet peeves.
It was fun.
We truly appreciate, again, our viewers and listeners for sharing their pet peeves and whatever grinds their gears. And we're going to continue to try to do more of those type of questionnaires for people to comment. And of course, we'll always share your answers anonymously unless you say in the comment, like, hey, share my name. That's the only way, but we're not putting people's names out there. It will always remain anonymous. Just want to jump into our topic.
Yeah, because I have plenty to add to this conversation.
So this week's topic of discussion, and I know my Haitian people.
Yeah, I think a lot of
us, but I know my Haitian people for a fact. We have felt this because Haitian parents are something else. But a lot of children of us born here.
So children of first-generation immigrants.
Yes, we feel your pain and we understand it. And we're going to we're not going to be able to get to everything. And again, like me and Jessica always say, we're speaking on this from our own experience.
Yeah.
So we're not speaking on other people's experiences, okay? This is our own experience, so don't jump down our throats and say, you know what, that's wrong.
I'm almost certain that our experience is probably everyone watching.
Yes.
Anyone who is children, a product of first-generation immigrants.
Yep.
Know the struggle.
But
I will say, just before we get into it, I couldn't see my life any other way.
No.
It's literally expanded me into
I didn't like it growing up because I didn't understand it. Now that I'm older, I love the fact that I come from a family of immigrants. I come from both parents not being from here. And I get both worlds. And I'm gonna try to uphold that even when I bring my children into the world. Even though I'm slightly more Americanized, I speak hella English more than I do Haitian Creole, but I have a balance of both. That, I mean, even with my great nephew, sometimes I say certain things to him in Creole.
Okay, so if we're talking about great nephews,
catch this
my great nephew, who's also my godson, is nonverbal, but he signs. And he understands, he does sign language, he understands English and Creole. You can ask him anything, you can talk to him in any language, and he'll truly understand what you're saying. And I think that's pretty dope. Like for a child to be nonverbal and still understand 3 different languages is like
that's dope.
Crazy.
I love that. So
it's to the point now we have to spell stuff out because he knows what the fuck we're talking about. Like legitimately, like a whole conversation will be like, can you go get the ICECREAM out of the FRI? Like it's just too much at this point. It's a whole task to have a conversation with my niece, with my nephews. Yeah.
So I wanted to start off with the first generation child part was for me, I'm coming from a Haitian household, even though me and Jessica kind of share similar things, because it's like sometimes Cape Verdeans are one of the same with Haitian, even though there's a vast water separating us.
Yeah, no, it's the same. It's the same.
They be doing the same thing. So
I promise you, everything that Peggy is going to mention today, I've experienced.
So the first experience, right? I do have older siblings, but they were living in Haiti when I was born. I did not. My first remembrance of knowing them, like actually remembering, was when they came here. I remember me and my dad, and I believe my mom came too. We got on a plane to go get them. It's a whole paperwork process, of course, to come here. You know, get the visas, the green cards, all that other stuff. I remember going to get them. I didn't know my niece. Me and my niece are 3 years apart. So when I say my niece has a child, people are like, because, you know, the assumption is your niece is usually young, a little kid. They're not old enough. I'm like, my niece, we're 3 years apart. But for the longest, I thought she was my cousin. So I was telling people, oh, that's my cousin, that's my cousin. It wasn't until, like, it got explained further to me. Like, my older sister is my sister. I have 3 brothers, and then I'm the last one. Growing up in a Haitian household, at one point, back in the 90s, we were all living in the same house. And I didn't really, like, it wasn't until, like, my mother started to get hip, like, Haitians don't do snacks. What is a snack? A snack? It's a full course meal. Full course
and it's very
meal.
starchy.
Very starchy, like
heavy.
Spaghetti. It's spaghetti.
Okay, first off, can we talk about the spaghetti, the Haitian spaghetti? So my Haitian friend had made it for us one day. I was in Florida. It was a group of us. And we're like, oh my God. But she made it super early, but I'm like, I'm used to that because, you know, my mom will cook dinner at 11. And she's like, no, this is breakfast. I was like, for who? But then I'm like, why is that any different from my mom refrying rice and beans with a little bit of onions and putting an egg over easy? It's the same shit. It's starchy, it's heavy. And I think the reason for that is because they had to consume a massive amount of food because they were out there farming. They were out there in the sun.
Or went to school and stuff. So
yeah.
they be gone for pretty much all day.
Exactly. And of course, they eat fresh food.
Everything is fresh out there.
So traveling with them is not ideal.
Not a thing. So I didn't grow up my parents making spaghetti for breakfast.
So good. So
but
good.
It would be dinner for us, but then I would warm it up for breakfast. So for me growing up, certain things that I thought was weird, like, okay, I know some Haitian people are gonna be like, the fuck, are you really Haitian? I do not like legume. I'm a texture child. I
even like that shit.
I'm a texture person. So for me, as a child, I already struggled with eating vegetables. And then the vegetables are cooked in a certain way that it's like mushy for me. So I never liked it. Like even carrots, like I like my carrots fresh. Like
so do you like soup jumeau?
I do. Because soup jumeau is not laden with spinach or anything like that. Legume is spinach, cabbage, all that into one, and it's mushed together.
But you're saying like soft veggies are not your
no. With the soup jumeau, like potatoes, you're always gonna boil potato. You don't eat potatoes hard. Like I can't bite into a potato like a carrot. Like carrots, I don't mind them roasted and like sautéed. But when they're boiled, like when you're doing legume, it's boiled. It's
when they're
mushed.
Stewed.
Yes, it gets super mushy. Like soup jumeau, I avoid it. I don't really eat it in the soup jumeau. I skip over it. But I'll eat the potato. I'll eat the pasta in there. I'll eat the oxtail. My mom throws oxtail in there. And I have moments where I'll still eat it. But the legume, the vegetables get super cooked before it actually gets served to, as opposed to the soup. Because with the soup, my mother always make the veggies to the side and then throws them in last.
Yeah.
As opposed to legume, everything is cooked separate, but then they get dumped and they get so much heat added onto it. By the time it's like, to a certain extent, it loses nutritional value because it gets overcooked to a certain extent. I never was a fan. Growing up, I always liked bouillon. Soup jumeau I started to like in my mid-teens. I hated it as a child for some strange reason. I don't know why I hated it as a kid. I just ate the pasta and the potatoes. But as I got older, I'm like, what? Give me all the bowls of soup jumeau. I love that. So my mother used to say, oh, you're an American child. You don't like nothing that's good for you. Nothing. I'm like, I just don't like it. And having the food being shoved down your throat wasn't helping. Being told you got to sit at the table until the food's done. You know what my father used to say to me? And I told him, like, that threat was not good because that fucked with me mentally. This is what he said to me if I didn't want to eat. He was like, I'm going to say it in Creole first. De vous pas manger, wa mourir. So he would say literally, if I don't eat all this food right now, I'm going to die. You telling this 8-year-old this? So I'm sitting there crying. You know when you sit there and the tears start to go down and you're like... As I got older, I think earlier this year, I said, Daddy, I don't understand why you used to tell me, oh, if I don't eat this, I'm going to die. He's like, I don't know. I just trying to make you eat because you didn't want to eat. And I noticed every child has a phase where they don't like to eat the things that they're supposed to eat. They want cheeky nuggets. I never cared for chicken nuggets. But my father used to say, all you eat is junk food. That's all you want, junk. Burger King was junk. But I really just wanted chips, popsicles, like typical kids.
Yeah.
We like sugary shit.
High in salt,
high in sugar. You know, it's being advertised as heavily. So, and you know, we didn't have access to organic foods and stuff. Like everything is coming from somewhere else. In Haiti, everything is farm fresh. Like the last time I went to Haiti in 2014, literally, it was when my grandmother passed in 2014, and I remember eating a fried egg. The fried egg didn't even taste like the fried eggs here.
Was it good?
It was good. And you know what's so funny?
I have a problem with fresh food. So I remember one Thanksgiving, my mom had a live fucking turkey.
My mother had live turkey one time and live chicken. I'm like, I don't think we're supposed to have this here.
We was playing with it.
It's illegal.
It was in the basement. We were playing with it.
Oh my God, yes. My mother had it in the basement.
And my mom just was like, pop. And I was like, okay.
I wasn't there. I didn't see that. But I knew she killed them.
And then the smell that permeated the kitchen, it's a different smell. Like fresh meat is definitely different. And I was not prepared for that. And I was upset because I don't give a fuck what anybody else says. Thanksgiving, I actually enjoy turkey.
Me too.
I don't know how everybody else's turkey's prepared, but mine's is flavorful.
It's dry. I'm like, y'all didn't let it soak. Y'all didn't brine it. Y'all overcooked it. That's why it's dry.
You over here scared to cook turkey. Now you done dried it out. But I've truly enjoyed turkey and Thanksgiving. So I was upset. Like, you're going to bring this live turkey to this house, kill it in front of us, defeather it, and like boil it alive. It was too much. And I was just like, I'm never fucking eating that shit again. So I like my shit packaged at the grocery store. Well,
we're city people, so we're not used to things being farmed in front of us. I remember going to Haiti and seeing a goat get killed in front of me. And the craziest thing, the goat knew. It knew.
That literally brought like chills to my body.
But here's the thing though. The thing with being in the islands though, when you own those farm animals, they kill them in the most humane way. As opposed to here, we don't know how they're packed in these little factory places. That in Haiti, the animals are not packed. They roam freely. Like literally, when I was in Haiti, I saw goats roaming free, chickens. I mean, I told my dad, like, no one's going to snatch them up. He's like, if someone snatches them up, they're stupid. But the animal is owned by someone, but they let them roam free. And they know when to come back, which is crazy. Like, they know when to come back home. Like, dogs roam free. Like, stray dogs is normal in Haiti. They have owners. They let them roam free and they come back.
Because when I was in Aruba, I was sad. I was like, yo, these dogs are just out here roaming the streets.
Yeah, they roam the streets. No one bothers them. They get whatever they need throughout the day. And then there's homeless ones, but then there's most of them. The owners let them. Yeah. They have homes. The owners let them run free and then they come back. And just chickens in the yards roaming free. Like they literally are roaming free. They're only in an enclosed space so that they don't run out in the street and someone takes them. But they have free range to run everywhere. So the animal's not being tortured. They're not in enclosed spaces. Like here, farming is set up differently. Like animals are meant to be slaughtered. They're cramming them in small spaces. They're like on top of each other. Back home, they don't have that. They do not have that. So the animal is free to roam. And the person who owns that animal chooses if they want to have that animal for dinner or whatever. But there's more plant-based diets in the islands than there are up here. Yes, we're getting more evolved and we're realizing consuming animal products is not good. But also have to understand that a lot of the reasons why there might be health concerns in the islands and probably Cape Verde, a lot of it has to do with American consumption stuff, products being sent over there. Because my father said growing up, and
they didn't have that.
They didn't have all that. Even when his parents or grandparents were alive, they didn't have all that. Everything fresh it's coming here, or American consumption being sent over there. Like, people feel the need that they have to get bigger. They're drinking all this soda, and to my amazement, in Haiti, a lot of the sodas, they're still in the glass bottles. It tastes so much better in the glass bottle. Even though I'm not saying go drink soda, guys. Sodas ain't all that good for us, but it tastes way more refreshing than it does in the can, to be honest, or the plastic bottle. But growing up, my parents knew a little bit of English. I remember my father told me he came to the States in 82. His first place of landing is New York, Brooklyn. A lot of Haitians have landed in Brooklyn. And then eventually he came to Boston. He realized there was a huge difference between Boston and New York. New York is always on the go, hustle and bustle.
It's
Boston's
still like
more
here
like,
now, but there's more space.
yes. But the 80s, Boston is different now. My father said Boston in the 80s looked hideous. He said it was ugly. Honestly, he's like, it looked ugly to him compared to now. Now with the developments and reconstructing Seaport. So he said he's seen Seaport get built up in front of him. The whole Big Dig situation, he's seen all of that. My mother came to the States in the early 80s, but she was in Florida. She was in Florida. Honestly, you remember, I think I had a conversation with you and my other friend who was like, why couldn't our parents pick a different place than Massachusetts to have us? Honestly, I would prefer that I'm actually having my parents meet in Florida, because Florida is really ghetto. And we see all the craziness that's taking place is in Florida. But I would have preferred if they met somewhere else besides Massachusetts and like not Florida. I don't know.
I'm also
somewhere with happy hours and more fun with black people.
DC. Okay, if my parents met in DC, bet, say less. I'm obsessed with DC.
I love DC.
I almost moved there, but it's happened.
It's the shit. But no, growing up, I remember my first bout was in kindergarten. When my grandmother started coming to the States to stay with us, I started learning Creole a little bit better. So I would go to school saying those words that I learned. And I was getting in trouble because I wasn't speaking English. I was getting in trouble for not speaking English at school, because I'm learning a new language and I want to share it. So it wasn't curse words. I was not saying curse words in school. I was just saying random stuff that I was learning from my grandmother, and my parents always got a phone call like, Peggy's doing this, Peggy's doing that type of thing. As I started to get a little bit older, I started to rebel a little bit, in the sense that my parents were strict. More so my dad and my mom. I think my mom just followed along with what my dad said. And I remember I got to a point, I'm like, you ain't gonna man up in front of my dad. You always say no because of him. Like, why could you say yes for once? They're a little bit more strict, in the sense that certain things I couldn't do. And I remember in one of the episodes I had said, like, my friends, they got to a point they knew not to ask me to come out, because they knew the answer was gonna be no. Because mama was like, you going to, so no, stay here. You have a bed here, you have a home here. Like, why do you gotta go to your friends' house? Like, oh my God, I just want to have fun. And it was that battle with, like, your job is just to go to school. It's literally the three concepts in the Haitian household is church, school, and home. L'église, l'école, la caille. Literally the 3 L's in Haitian Creole. Those are the 3 places you have to be. Anywhere else, you're in trouble. So I remember one day, I told my parents there was school. And there wasn't school. But the thing is, not all BPS schools were closed. It was just my school, because my school that day had a professional development day, but everywhere else was open. One of my father's little Haitian cabbie friends saw me get off the bus, and I was going to hang out with my boyfriend at the time, and I had just gotten a cell phone. My mother left 50 million messages. The first message started with like, Peggy, send mommy. And they like to say, it's mom. And I'm like, I know it's you. Like, you don't gotta tell me it's you. And then as the messages kept coming, it became more threatening. Like, where are you? You're supposed to be in school. Someone said they saw you. You're not where you're supposed to be. Oh my God. And I think that's another thing that we don't have in our communities anymore, like where another adult can check on your child in the endearing way, not in a weird way. But like, oh, I saw your child, and your child wasn't where they're supposed to be, type of thing. And that adult not being scolded for checking in, like, yo, I saw your child here.
I think that's a Caribbean culture thing, because in Cape Verde, everybody watched out for each other's kids.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see your kids where
they're not supposed to be,
or doing what they're not supposed to be doing, we hold each other accountable, because I expect the same from you. If you see my child acting out, you better let me know.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally think it's snitching, and you just want to boast about how your kid is great and this kid's
yeah. I used to hate that. Yeah, I think so too.
But they come off like, I have great intentions. I want to make sure your daughter is safe. She's safe. You don't see her get off the bus. She's fine.
So the thing is, I don't know what lie I came up with that day, but all I know is I went to bed. My mother got up for work. This woman opened up the door, and I'm pretty sure today, if I was to say that's what she did, she would be like, oh no, not me. I didn't do that. She dragged my ass off the bed. My bed was kind of high, so I fell. Mind you, you know how old I was at the time? I was
15 at least.
No, I was already 18. Me up and couldn't do anything about it. Don't you dare. I mean, I remember the one time, we all know the stories where your mother is beating you and you kind of like move away from her, and the story is, oh, she hit me. Mm-hmm. You better come get your daughter or come get your sister. She attacked me. And it's like, I moved away from you. I blocked your hit.
That is a natural reaction.
Like, I blocked your hit. I had a reflex. I blocked your hit, and it gets twisted in the sense that you beat them up. Mm-hmm. So Jesus himself has to come save you. My mother did that so many times, and you know, me and my mom bumped heads a little bit more than I did with my dad. I think the only time as a teenager my father like mushed my forehead is when I got in trouble. Middle school. Mm-hmm. This is 7th grade. This is when we weren't even in the same classes at all in 7th grade. And me and this boy was passing notes, and the teacher took the note, read it to herself. Luckily, she didn't read it out loud. And she said, oh, I'm going to call home. So I was hoping and praying she didn't call home. Man, listen, the whole weekend goes by. No one says anything to me. So Sunday, all of a sudden, oh, we need to talk to you. My heart is beating, palpitating, like, oh my God. Because I'm thinking like I'm out the clear, like the teacher didn't call. I get scolded. I get yelled at. Oh, we don't send you to school to be talking to little boys and blah, blah, blah. And I think I was in my dad, and he just went to my forehead. I was like, I couldn't get to. I was like, Jesus. And these are the moments where I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till I turn 18. I can't wait till I'm old enough so I can do whatever I want. I'm tired of them telling me what to do. I'm tired of telling me no. But at the same time, like, I do understand, like, their strictness was to protect me. Did they protect me from out of harm's way from a lot of things? Yes. And there are things I felt like they overdid it, where you had to let me experience and make those mistakes. But in the Haitian household, the moment you fuck up, they say it's your friends. Your friends are the reason why you did what you did. It's like, little did they know, I'm the one that says, let's do this shit, guys. Let's fucking do it. And they think it's your friends. Your friends are bad influences. Don't get it twisted. There are friends who are bad influences on children. I'm not going to say that it's not possible. It is possible. But I don't think my parents trusted me enough to believe that I had some level of maturity about myself, that I wouldn't allow someone to force me to do something I didn't want to do. Because a lot of the stuff, the moves that I made at 16, 17 is because I wanted to do them. And I wanted it to see, like, I want to be independent. You can trust me. I can go to work, come home at a reasonable time. Like, I had to literally plead my case as to why I needed a curfew at like 17, 18. My parents did not believe in curfews. Like, what was that? You go to school, you go to work, you come home. Like, there's no curfew. What's that? So, like, when I see the newer generation Haitian parents, like, breaking away from what their parents used to do, I love that. Like, you give your child the space to do these certain things. And like me and Jessica always said, our parents were raising us the way they knew how to raise us back then. Remember, we're 80s babies. Yeah. So a lot of this open and expressing your feeling shit was not happening.
Pandemic, they probably saved us from
a lot of stuff. Things. So you have to understand, like, there's a lot of stuff they saved us from, but as we got older, we realized, okay, that wasn't a healthy way for them to do it. So, like, how these kids are able to, like, express their feelings to their parents, like, Mom, you made me upset. I couldn't do that. We did that. It was seen as a sign of disrespect.
First off, if she's talking, it's not a rhetorical question. Like, I'll whoop your ass if you say anything outside of my yes.
And don't you dare call a foreign parent a liar, even though they are lying.
Yeah,
they are lying. Yeah. They're lying to you, but you can't tell them you're lying because you're gonna lose all your teeth, all of it, every single one. I
think for me, being a first generation immigrant parents. The one thing I hated the most was reading mail. And
every day you come home. Can you
they're rummaging through the mail like, read this. What is this? It was to the point where I would tell my mom it was junk mail. And it could have been her insurance. It could have been...
You could have fucked her over.
I don't know. But like, I'm 10 years old and you want me to read this college level mail from your clinic, or not from your clinic, but at least from your insurance. Mm-hmm. I don't know how to even... I don't have the words to like... translate
even
that
now, insurance, my mother's insurance confuses me because, like, guys, here's another thing.
It's
as we're getting
bad.
older, you thought insurance, applying for insurance through your job is easy, but trying to do it with Medicare, Medicaid, when you get to certain, it's the most confusing thing ever because
it's like they want you
B, D. They want you not to get insurance, so it's confusing. So since my brother, because that's why I told my mom, like, look, you have to assign all your children a specific role. You can't have too many of us touching everything. I'll handle the house stuff. Like, I pay someone to clean her home. Between me and my sister, we'll take her to whatever store she needs to go to, and then when I'm off on vacation, I'm pretty much her chauffeur to the grocery store, to the mall, whatever. I said, let my older brother handle the insurance stuff because he worked in the insurance company before, health insurance company, so he knows the ins and outs. Let him handle it. My other brother, the middle one, he takes her to her appointments when we cannot bring her. He handles that for her. My third oldest brother, one I follow right after, he handles the technology of it. She'll have an issue with her TV. Sometimes he'll come fix things. He's the handyman. So I'm like, you can't have all of us doing everything.
That's literally the setup for my family.
You have to, because it gets confusing, especially as they get older, guys. And that's the thing that was discussed when I was at my friend's little shindig. We would just end up talking about our parents. It was like we were such in a rush to get older, forgetting that, and it's not our fault too, because we're young. We didn't realize as we're getting older, we're rushing to get older. Our parents are getting older, so then in a sense we become their parents. And then you know what's so crazy now? My parents coming to me for advice, like, oh, so we were gonna do this. I'm like, y'all didn't want to listen to me when I was growing up. When I was telling y'all, look, y'all should try this. Like,
my mom,
child, what do you know?
She'd be damned if she asked any of her kids for advice.
She don't ask y'all nothing?
No. She talks to her sisters.
Like,
and then the little one,
minions.
the youngest one, who's like in her 60s, well, she's like the fireball of all the sisters, and she would set shit on fire. Okay. But for me, that's exactly how our setup is. When my mom got sick and she was in and out of the hospital, 1 week she was in, 1 week she was out, and it was just like we found out she had like congestive heart failure. We just found out all these things, and we were divvying up the time. Like, all right, you go Monday, Tuesday, I go Tuesday, Wednesday, like, you know, whatever. So she's not alone, and she has someone there to advocate for her. We realized we weren't communicating with each other. Yeah. And so what one doctor told me, I didn't communicate to my brother who's coming in after me, and he's oblivious and confused as to what this doctor is talking about. Right. So at the time, my brother, it was like a blessing in disguise almost. I mean, granted, nobody wants to be laid off, but he was laid off at his job, and so he had the time, and we couldn't afford any longer to continue to take time off of work. Right. But like, okay, I still have my livelihood. I'm trying to figure out, like, ran through my vacations. No, not even that, but like my vacation time. Like, I don't have the luxury to just take more time off. And so my brother took the responsibility of handling all of her medical stuff. So he's constantly emailing back and forth with her doctor. With his eyes closed. The smell of her medication, he could tell you what it is and what it does and how much she takes. That's good. I remember one time I was over there watching my great nephew, and my mom had like a bloody nose, like randomly. She took a shower, she went to go lay down, and her nose was just gushing, and she takes blood thinners, so that's fucking scary as shit. So my brother comes in calmly, opens the door. He's like, hey, can you get mom like an outfit together? She just has like blood out, like calm. She has blood on her top, and I want to make sure that she goes with clean clothes. And I was like, this is me. What do you mean she has blood? Like, what's happening? What's wrong with you? My mother's looking at me like, bitch, relax. Your brother got it. I'm the total opposite. And then the ambulance come, because we can't just drive her to the hospital because this lady taking blood thinners. Ambulance is you know how Crow got you? Ambulance gets me. Somebody called the ambulance. The man's just laying right there. Ambulance. He needs some milk. So my brother, the
Paramedics.
I said panorama. Girl, I need to stop drinking. So they come upstairs and they're talking to my brother. He is the rundown. Like, he already knows the questions before it's asked. And her pocketbook has her charger for her phone because now you can't go with the person. Mm-hmm. So my brother is like making sure her phone is fully charged, and if it's not, she has a charger so that he can just call her and put him on speaker and they have the conversation. All her medications. He has a piece of paper with all of her medications, when she takes them, how much she takes, when she started taking them. Like, it is detailed, and I couldn't thank him enough. He don't play about my mama. Like her health has been A1 since he's taken over. She rarely goes to the hospital now. If anything, he pays attention to her behavior. Like, if she's starting to look more fatigued or if she's starting to feel a little weird, emails the doctor. Hey, I don't know if this medication is working out for her anymore. This is what I've noticed. Let's figure this out. My older sister took her in so she can enjoy her retirement and her pension and all that. So she stays with my sister rent free. And then my little sister takes care of all her finances and make sure that that's in order and make sure that, you know, she's on her stuff and all her life insurance or whatever. And then there's me, you know, just dishing out money whenever she needs it.
You're stupid.
I'm the ATM when it comes to my mom.
Okay, so with the financial part, with like life insurance, my older brother handles that. So he handles the life insurance and the health insurance stuff. Mm-hmm. Cause I'm like, that stuff is confusing as fuck. My parents, they share an account, so my father makes sure the bills, he sat, I remember seeing him sitting down and making sure they separated the bills that were already paid for health stuff, bills that need to be paid, calculating it when they're going to pay it next time. So my father handles that with her. Mm-hmm. So the part with the medication piece and like...
Pause. The reason why I was... Because you had mentioned how your dynamic of your family is, and I was also including mine. I wanted to also say that because when you have immigrant parents... The conversation of elderly homes and putting them in nursing homes is not a conversation. You are taking care of your parents.
They will hate you.
You gotta rearrange your life.
They will hate you.
They will put voodoo on your ass. Okay, like
they will hate you.
You don't do that. You don't do that. So we have to take on that. I wouldn't say it's burden, but it's an added pressure to ensure your parents' safety and health. It can
be depending on their health situation. Yeah. If it's a situation where they cannot be home by themselves and you cannot afford to take time off, because how are they going to stay in this house if I can't pay the mortgage? You know what I mean?
And honestly, I don't know this to be fact, but from my observation of American people, white, black, whatever, like born here, no immigrant parents, no experience with like parents and family members from another country, they don't have that pressure, to my knowledge anyways. I don't know that. Like from what I've observed, especially because my sister is an at-home aide, it's a lot of white people that are in these nursing homes and their kids just like come once a month, if that, and that's a big if. They communicate more with the aide than they do the parent. And I just find that very strange. I think it's because I know better. I would never put my mom in that situation, or my dad for that matter. But I want to know what the thought process is to be like abandoning your parent who took care of you your whole life. Why can't that be reciprocated? Like, why is that not like
the only understanding I have with elderly people being they're elderly who don't have children, or their children have passed away and they don't have anyone else in their family. I understand them going there because obviously if you don't have kids, no one's really there to take care of you.
But even then, my aunt has no kids and we take care of her.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe if the elderly that say don't have kids and either most of their family members have passed away, or some of them probably was the only child and they don't have anyone, so they prefer to be in that space where someone's watching them 24 hours. They get food, they make sure they're taken care of, and it also depends on their mentality, because with dementia and Alzheimer's, that's a whole different ballgame.
I was gonna say that too, only because that can be very consuming. When my grandmother was deteriorating in health and she was living with us, it was just taking a toll on my mom. Like,
it's very stressful.
She's like, I can't take care of 5 kids, well, all these kids, and take care of you. And then my sister at 10 years old was administering her insulin and all this stuff. I was bathing her at so if my sister was 10, I was 14, 15 years old. I'm bathing my grandmother. It was a lot for children. We couldn't be children because we were taking care of my grandma. Mom was like, all right, we gotta do something. But it's the abandonment. Like once they're in the nursing home, you have no more communication. That's my biggest thing.
Like you barely see them. Yeah.
They used to go see my grandmother all the time, but yeah.
So with that, so everyone being assigned a certain role as we got older, and I definitely need to have some conversation with my mother, because I'm like, I think my niece made her do a health proxy. So my niece is a nurse, so I tell my niece, hey, you deal with the medical aspect in the sense that for her appointments, in a sense, and double checking with the doctors. I am familiar with medical verbiage to a certain extent.
Yeah, me too.
I did nursing for one semester, and I did laboratory science to a certain extent. The only thing with laboratory science is you're looking at under a microscopic level. I don't actually see the human all the time. I'm just getting the lab work, right? And I end up dropping out of that. But I still remember some of the scientific stuff. I don't remember everything. But for her, she's still in it. She's a nurse. She works in the hospital. She works on a med surg floor. She sees it. I like, hey, let her handle that stuff. So it's another thing too. And it's like, some Haitian parents, not all, some, when they see you're getting older, you're more responsible, they're like, okay, some of them like things you never would expect your parents to do, they're like being more open with you and stuff like that they weren't doing, because they felt in their minds like certain things us as children we weren't supposed to know. But then my brother was saying,
fair. I think that's true.
It's fair, but my brother was saying like, hey, yes, we were young, you could explain everything to us, but as we got older, you guys could at least explain to us certain things about our family history, because honestly I don't know my full family lineage from my mother or my father's side. I just know my grandparents. On my mother's side, I know my grandmother on my father's side. I never met my father's father, never met him. Supposedly he saw me as a child, but I never saw him. He died before I even became older to understand anything. So need to understand the lineage, not just from the slavery aspect of it, but just to know like, okay, my grandfather's father, whatever, like all that. So my mother started to explain what she knew, but we have to understand, she said culturally, older Haitian parents from her parents when they were younger, and then her grandparents, they didn't discuss family lineage like how, at least here in America with African Americans here, you can like do ancestry DNA, you can do all that. For Haitians it'd probably be a little bit for Haitians, because a lot of things is not super public record.
We found like, well, my cousin did the 23andMe, and it's pretty fucking accurate, because she didn't know one of my cousins actually did the test. And this is our first cousin. Like, there was no conversation. She was just like, I just want to do it and see what comes up. And it matched her with my cousin. He was like, oh, you have a first cousin that lives in Boston by this name. And so she hit him up and was like, hey, did you do the 23? He's like, yeah. She was like, it literally showed your name as a first cousin. So it can give you, it showed us where we originally originated from in Africa. It showed a lot. I actually want to do it. We should do one.
I don't wouldn't mind doing it. It's the companies that's probably owned by a white person creating a DNA sequence to tell me where they think I'm from, where I already know human life.
But
started in Africa.
For me, I'm not gonna lie to you, what convinced me was them listing one of our first cousins as her first cousin without any knowledge, without any conversation, without anything.
They probably saw the matching blood types.
Yeah, because they both we're first cousins on our mom's side, and they can only get tested like your mother's side.
From your mother's side, yeah. A lot of things come from our moms. So like, this is what I remember from my science major. Mitochondrial DNA is the only thing you get from your mom. So God forbid you end up missing, and supposedly God forbid they find your remains. If your mother's still alive, they'll take your mom's DNA and try to match it with yours to see if it's you. You don't get it from your dad, you get it from your mom. Because giving birth to a child, the child is definitely
literally sharing the same blood,
literally flesh and bone from your mom.
I think we started with like the trials of being first generation children.
You know we was going on a tangent. We're gonna
but I really want to go into like the pros of that. We're bilingual.
Yes. So not and then here's the crazy thing though. We're fortunate to be bilingual. But there are some people who, and my parents like kind of opened this up for me. They said that in certain instances, even in Haiti, you have parents who are embarrassed with the Haitian culture, especially back. I'm gonna give you the context here. There was a time period where a lot of people were were afraid to say they were Haitian because Haitians have a history of being mistreated a lot, right?
Yep.
So, and I already know why. Okay, till this motherfucking day, you have powerful countries who still cannot believe or fathom the thought, like a little old island.
We've
with
tried
all
to
these
oppress
black
them so much,
slaves.
so many times.
What do y'all know?
And they still thrive.
And y'all got rid of the French army, the most powerful army at the time.
Yeah.
Y'all got rid of them. Y'all booted them out, and y'all gained your independence. How dare you? And then you get rid of our money.
It's like a generational curse, legitimately.
Literally. So, you have. So in Haiti, you can speak French or Creole. And we all know a lot of our patois, Creole, some of the Spanish that we speak is the derivative of whatever our colonizer was speaking. So if you speak Spanish, your colonizer was from Spain. You speak Haitian Creole, your colonizer was French. You speak English, the patois that people from Barbados, Jamaica, Trinidad, and Tobago speak, your colonizers was Great Britain. That's what it is.
Yeah.
They came in, we ended up speaking their language, and then we remixed it and made our own language. Okay, we made our own language. So my thing is, there are people who are denying their children to learn Creole. They wanted to speak French because French was more professional, more appropriate to speak. And then some of them, once they got here, the parents that got here, they learned English better. They only spoke English with their child. So there are Haitians people growing up that understand Haitian Creole, like you can speak to them Creole, but they won't reply in Creole. They reply in English. Their parents weren't speaking Creole with them. My parents, especially, English was my first language. I understood it more than Haitian Creole, but as my siblings started coming here to the States and my grandmother started coming here to the States more often, before my siblings started coming here, I started catching on to Haitian Creole words. And now I speak Haitian Creole. It's not gonna sound like the person that speaks Haitian Creole from Haiti. And even when you're in Haiti, depending on what region in Haiti you're from, your Haitian Creole sound different. Just like in America, you're down south, your English sounds different for someone who lives in New York, right? So I grew up people denying themselves from being Haitian because of the backlash they would face, and it's very unfortunate. Now it's like you tell someone you're Haitian. I don't take offense to the whole black rice. Like, oh, you got that black rice? It's like, I don't carry it with me, but it can be cooked.
That's the same way when I tell them I'm Cape Verdean, like, so you know how to make cachupa? No.
I don't even ask that because I don't even know what cachupa is.
But
I want some.
I feel some type of way that you even said that out loud, but I'm gonna leave that alone.
I don't know. You never offered. As my Cape Verdean friend, you never cooked it for me.
I don't cook that shit. That shit takes forever. No. First off, the closest thing to anything Cape Verdean is rice. That's the only thing.
Okay, I remember you made, or your mom made the rice for me for an event, because I remember coming to your house and you offered me rice and some meat, and I was like, oh my god, this rice is so fucking
My mom's
bomb.
rice, and I will put up anybody to this. My mom's white rice, bruh. It's like not even fucking real. Like, and she does it with her eyes closed. Like, we just like watch intently. Like, all right, she did a little bit of that. She did a little bit of this. Okay, I can do it. That shit is the worst fucking rice you would ever try. If you try to emulate my mom's rice, it just never will work out. And so when we ask my mom to do it, she does it like in second. Like, it's just boom, 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 boom.
Oh yeah, because they've been doing this since they were like 2.
It's perfection every time. It tastes the same every time.
Our Haitian mothers, Haitian elderly, whoever, foreigners, they've been cooking those type of meals since they were like 2.
So, I mean, I said it in I don't know what episode, but my mom was removed from school to help with the household chores, and so she learned cooking at a very early age, and she cooked for the whole family. Like, that was her task. She cooked for everybody.
They've been doing this since they were young. With us, it's like later on, and so even with the rice thing, I know a lot of people say, you know what, I don't know about Haitians, but y'all got the rice down pat. Like, y'all with the rice.
Yeah, I agree with that.
With the rice part. I mean, I love the rice. I'll eat all types of rice. But the thing is, for me, the pros with it is being able to be bilingual. And they said the way your brain works when you're able to speak more than one language is very amazing. So don't let anyone belittle you for knowing another language, especially these racist Americans that be like, oh, speak English. I'm like, sir, your English is not even your own language, so shut the fuck up. Because American English is a mixture of German, a little bit of French. It's like,
don't get this history. She just started teaching history.
You know, so your own language here supposedly
it's not even yours.
It's not even yours. So shout out, like some Haitians will say shout out. So they don't say shut up. Haitians don't say shut up. They say shout out. So be proud of being able to speak another language.
Yeah.
I never was embarrassed to speak Haitian Creole to the point where
whoever like I fucking hate when people say you can't ready and say something in Creole. Sir, my brain needs to like
process, because it's not gonna. Yeah, I get the same thing. Like, oh, you Haitian? Say something in Haitian Creole. Like,
it took me a while to believe that she was Haitian Creole, because the Haitians I seen she didn't fit that like look, that aesthetic. But this is me being ignorant. I have a shit ton of, I have more Haitian friends than I do any other fucking race, I promise you. And I was just like, I don't believe she Haitian. The same way people, when I tell them I'm not Spanish,
people thought she was Puerto Rican. Your Puerto Rican friend, I'm like, she's Caribbean. She's not Puerto Rican. She's gonna be mad when she hears this.
I used to get so mad, like with the like where I work in property management, so there's a lot of like Spanish speaking cleaners, and they will legitimately get upset because I'm telling them I'm not Dominican, I'm not Puerto Rican, I'm not anything, and it's like, no, you have to be. Like, they swore up and down that I was swapped at birth at the hospital. Like, I'm not my mother's child. They don't believe my mom is actually Cape Verdean. They think that she's Spanish also. Like, okay, so she came from DR.
Spain. She came from Spain. If you're saying she's Spanish,
she came from Spain, and then she like, you know, did a layover in Cape Verde, and then came over here. Is what you're saying. But yeah, I used to always fight like I'm Cape Verdean, and people would legitimately tell me I'm wrong. Like, yeah. That's just crazy to me.
I got told I was everything else but Haitian. I was told I was Honduranian. Yeah. I was Bayesian.
I thought you were Honduranian.
I never was exposed to anyone from Barbados, so I didn't even know what a Bayesian person was. I was told I was Jamaican. I'm like, what?
But Peggy looks just like her mom. Just like her mom. Your mom.
I don't see it.
She has the face card. Like, she didn't age.
I mean,
every time I say, I'm like, that's Peggy's mom. I know her because I've seen the picture all the time since Peggy was a baby.
And
the only person that's grown up is Peggy. That's it.
So the thing is like being able to translate and be able to speak another language. Yeah. I have, due to me being able to speak Haitian Creole, I have helped other people that don't even know me in the street. Like, I remember standing in line at the post office and this lady randomly turns to me. I guess she just assumed, because at that point, she was like, whoever can speak Creole will answer me in Creole. She turns around and says, I forgot what she asked from Creole, and I answered her. I was like, no, this is da-da-da. We look for that. She's like, you know, older Haitian people, when you help them, they're like, oh, bon job, benu. God bless your heart. God's going to bless you for helping them.
Okay, let's take it one step further. I came right in for you meet, like, for us, and I don't know if this is the case for you. We're such a small island. It's 10 small little bitty cracks of a piece of an island. It's like sprinkles. It's like Salt Bay. I'm just like, all right, we'll just see where these 10 land. And every time you meet another Cape Verdean, they be like, and it's the older ones, they be like, who's your mother? Who's your father? Where are they from? What island? When did you visit? Oh, I know your mom. I know your dad. Me and your dad used to play soccer. Like, it's a spiral conversation. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about anymore. And then when I tell my dad, like, hey, do you know this guy? What does he look like? What did he say to you? What's his name? And I'm just like, no, we're not doing this. They're always trying to find some connection. For instance, my sister's baby shower. The parents of the two people expecting the child, so my sister's boyfriend, well, now fiance, and my sister, their parents haven't met each other. So we introduced my dad to the mom first. I was like, oh, this is so-and-so's mom, blah, blah, blah. This is our dad. And then we like, dad, this is his dad. And he was like, abo? Meaning like, you? Like... And then he was like, and now panic, sheer panic on all of us. Like, oh my God, please tell me they're not related. No. Oh. Please tell me they're not related. Because and Cape Verdeans can say this, that is our biggest fucking fear when you're dating somebody Cape Verdean. Are we fucking related? This is why I don't date Cape Verdean. Because I don't even want to go through that trauma. Like, no, I don't want to do this. So we find out later that they're just childhood friends that grew up in the same like area. The fiance of my sister, his grandmother was like the village nurse. Like, she took care of everybody. And so that's just how they knew each other. So we were like it was literally like sweat. Like, hold up, this is why y'all need to learn your ancestors, and you need to learn your lineage, and you need to learn all of that. And I feel like it sucks for us because a lot of that, it has been deleted from our
It's not our fault, because you gotta remember.
It isn't. No, but I feel bad.
Remember, there's a stretch of time where the stories that were told was by word of mouth. Like, I spoke it and you spread it. Hopefully you remember, you bring it down the line. It was a crime to know how to read and write. You know, so I mean, it's not really our fault.
It's really shit.
I don't necessarily get that, but when people find out my last name is Volsi, they're like, "Do you know a Jessica? Do you know a Jessica Volsi?" I'm like, I don't know. Like, I didn't know the Volsi last name was even
popular.
Or popular.
I don't think I know any other Haitian with the last name Volsi.
And the thing is, the funny thing is, most of my close friends know that when they hear the name Peggy and someone says Peggy
Margaret,
they be like, they already know there's only one black Haitian Peggy with no fucking middle name. And that's another thing with our culture. The older Haitians didn't give us middle names.
Nope.
If you had two names, that's because they called you Marie Paul or something. If your name is Jean-Marc or something. But if you're just a regular Haitian, your name is just first, last, that's it.
Okay, do you remember the old Mass Health cards? So my dad wanted to do the tradition of all his kids' names starts with a J. But my mom the other moms didn't want to follow that tradition for whatever reason. So my mom is Jessica, John, Juanita, J. But on the old Mass Health cards, it would just give you the initials of each child's name. We don't have middle names. So it was JF in a set of numbers, JF in a set of numbers, JF in a set of numbers. And it's like, I'm like, oh, Jessica has an appointment. It's like, which one is Jessica? She's like, I don't know. Just look it up.
Figure it out.
I don't know which one is which. It was so bad. And I'm like, can we just have a middle name? Like, I used to get jealous when my friends would be like, oh, my middle name is such and such.
Yeah, I used to be like, I wanted a middle name.
My middle name is JF.
When I do have a child, I will give them a middle name. So, because you can switch it up. Like, I want to go by this name. You know, it's still part of your identity. Aside from speaking another language, I like the fact that you get to experience both cultures, like the American culture and the culture that you are raised up at home. Like, yes, like I said, there's certain dishes in the Haitian culture I do not like, just like there's certain dishes in American culture I won't touch because I'm like, no, that's a hard no for me. But I like the fact that there's certain things I didn't like growing up because I didn't understand it, but as I got older, I love it. There's certain things certain things most Haitians do. Like, I kid you not, we have there's a big ass, I'm gonna create this thesaurus in my mind. This big ass thesaurus, right, of just black people in general, no matter where we're at. This big ass book. No matter where we're at, we experience the same thing, it's just that the language is different. Then you cut through another chapter in that book, you have depending on where you're raised, if you were raised in some part in Africa, or being a black person being raised in America, being a black person being raised in the Caribbean islands, South America, Europe, that's that culture. Because my ethnicity, yes, I'm Haitian, but nationality American because I'm born here. So I'm dealing with those ideas. I don't follow those rules. I know you don't follow those rules, but to literally breaking it down, like as black people, we have so many identity though. Yeah. Depending on where you're born, you have your nationality, wherever your parents had you at. So me, I would say, oh, American because I'm born here. My ethnicity is Haitian. My race, what the box they created, is black. So as black people, we are not monolithic. Like, we have so many labels about us besides the skin tone.
You know what I do now? With any job application, with anything related that has the questionnaire of what's your race, what's your ethnicity, what's your nationality, I always put other, or I put I don't know, or prefer not to answer, because you're not about to use me as your data to say, here's all the black people. We have 20, we went up 20%, and
the 20% is the one person they hired. Jessica.
We're not even gonna go there.
Yeah, we're not gonna get there. That's a whole different episode. But yes, I do understand. I've been low-key trying to I've applied to a job where I purposely put on white. You don't fucking know. Peggy Volsi. How more white can you be? I purposely put white.
Peggy.
Yeah, I put white, or I put undecided. I prefer not to answer, just to see, are you gonna really take the time to talk to me, get to know me as an individual, and not label my race. Race is not important, but why is it on the application? Why is it on everything that we have to apply for? But before we go on a tangent, the other thing with us being the first generation of children of immigrants is the culture clash. There's a space where you want to do the things that your
always
friends,
in conflict.
You're always in conflict. Your parents are like, you see, when you have kids here in America, I used to hear this a lot. American culture is what's messing y'all kids up. Y'all want to do this, that, that. I'm like, honestly, there's more exposure now than there was when we were growing up. Okay. The things my parents were worried about me watching music videos, women with their ass out. Mom, it's on the internet now. You can't hide
Not only
nothing.
that, but it's like our culture dances, and it's like a lot of like closeness.
That's just how the culture is. The
But
whining
that's
of
fine.
the hips and the ass shaking.
But then that's like far past our ancestors. Like
yes, that's
like
always
so
been.
original.
It's just that American culture sexualizes it.
No, well, yes, that's true.
It's been sexualized, so it makes it seem as though like all black women do want to twerk. I'm like, well, if you go throughout history farther back,
no, they put that stigma there so they can
conform us into like
they put us in this box. I think the space between being an American child but having immigrant parents, the problem I always find is, damn, what the fuck was I about to say? It was something about getting in between like the culture classes.
Keep talking, it'll come back.
No, it's not coming back.
Is it like trying to find you? The thing is,
oh wait, sorry, I found it.
It came.
So, our immigrant parents knew 4 walls. This is how you act. This is who you're representing. This is all you're gonna be exposed to, and this is where you're gonna stop. We're exposed to so much. I feel like our parents wanted to keep us in that 4 walls of like, this is how you're supposed to act. This is your purpose in life, regardless of how you feel about it. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of feel for my parents. Like, they only know what they know, and they don't even know all of the things that are out here that is available to us. And they don't. I think for me, it's like if my mom knew, she wouldn't put me in that 4 wall.
But also remember, the homeland they're coming from, in certain circumstances, a lot of the thing that people have to understand, when our parents left their homeland, it's because for better circumstances. There's trust and belief.
They understood that there was better options here, but they didn't understand how much and how like their idea of success is 2% of what's out there.
But not even that. If there was the space for them to be successful back in their homeland, a lot of the immigrants that are coming here to America, they would not come here. They would stay where they're at and produce and do well in their country.
How many immigrant people do you know work their ass off here, but then they build their mansion and
all Haitian children know our Haitian parents never have money, but then when you go to Haiti, they have a whole house waiting for you.
Whole mansion,
chicken.
My aunt
they got
has a
servants.
better house than she's ever had here.
You got
Her
land.
house is insane. Like, when I tell you she pulled no stop, like, she was like, I'm going for the jugular. I want the best tile. I want the best dishwasher. I want the best stove. But mind you, she was over here in a 2-bedroom apartment, like, living.
They never have any l'argent, but the l'argent go straight to Haiti. They always sending something to Haiti. I don't have any l'argent, back in l'argent. I'm like, you do, but we just came from Haiti and literally out sleeping comfortably. And there was AC.
Right, there was AC.
You know? So
there was a running washer and dryer. We don't even have it. We have to go to the laundry, man.
Exactly. So my thing is,
and don't let these people in these apartments, in these smaller apartments with 10 plus people fool you.
They're
My
stacking up
uncle
for a
built
reason.
a house. It's so massive that the front of his house is a bar. Like,
get a drink before you step in. Enjoy yourself.
It's a whole bar. Like, he has his business in the front and personal shit, his home in the back. Like, crazy.
You know what's so funny too? A lot of times, this is what people fail to realize. Some of immigrants that come here, they leave for political reasons. So maybe there was not enough to go around. They have to come here. And also, some of the immigrants that are here, some of them were doctors, lawyers, or whatnot back home. But due to the standards of America, it's like, oh no, it's not enough. So you have to go back to school. And school's fucking expensive here.
It's almost impossible.
It's impossible. So they do the jobs that most of us wouldn't even do. So I would fuck someone up to disrespect my mother for being a certified nurse's aide, because that person you're making fun of is the person that was wiping your grandmother's ass that can't get out of bed. You know, my father was
the one that you're too busy to take care of or call.
Exactly.
Or
my father was a cab driver for years. I think he started like the late 80s, ever since I was a child. It finally was told to me like a couple of years ago that he almost lost his life due to this job. I won't go into detail with it now, but he almost lost his life. 'Cause I remember asking questions when I saw a scar. on his back. I'm like, where'd you get this from? He never would explain it to me until I got older, and it was explained to me. So that's another reason why he didn't have any more children, because he didn't want to leave my mom with more children to take care of if he wasn't going to be here. So that's why I'm the only child from my father. But my mom was already married with my 4 siblings prior to meeting my dad or whatever. But that is a whole nother story. But a lot of times people are quick to frown against immigrants, saying, "Oh, they're taking our jobs." Shut the fuck up, because the jobs that they're taking are jobs that you don't even want to.
You don't even look at.
There's a whole worker shortage. Those people that you saying was taking your job, where you at now? You ain't applying for these jobs. So shut the fuck up and stop complaining. And it's due to ignorance. A lot of it's ignorance. And listen, when someone's speaking another language, naturally they sound loud. Because I've heard my mother speak Creole, and I'm like, why are you so loud? But it's just how it sounds, because if it's a language you do not understand, it sounds loud. For me, the fact that I understand both languages, it sounds loud to me. There's African Americans who are fucking loud, and I understand English. And I'm like, oh, loud as fuck.
Yeah.
Naturally, as humans, if we're gonna be loud, we're gonna be loud. White people can be loud too. Don't.
My mom is the only person I know
she's super
soft spoken. But if she needs to get her point across, she'll elevate her voice. But it's like at this level.
It's like a soft.
Well, that's because she always got gossip, so she's whispering something. Did you know? I'm like, speak up.
My thing is like, this country was built on immigrants. Okay, this country's not owned by anybody except for the natives that are that were supposed to be here. That's it. Yeah. No one owns this country, so any white person that feels about this land is our land. Whose land?
This land is our land.
Whose land? Please let me know. Because some of the towns in Massachusetts is not American. It's literally pulled from Native American tongue, and you guys remix it. Massachusetts is a Native American word. It's not even white. But okay. Digressing. But having to translate for them, the culture clash. We went over that. Having to translate, and it's like certain words are not translatable from English to Creole to English.
So you just gotta like.
And we be winging it. I swear to God. So especially as like. So elementary school, I don't remember translating too much, but middle school and high school, I was still winging it, because this thing, I was like, I don't know, but this is what it said, trying to translate it back to Creole. But my father at that time, he had a better grasp of the English word than my mother did, so it was really hard. Like, I think it said, I don't know. What I send you to school for? You don't understand it? I send you to school, you don't know English?
I hate that.
I was like, I don't.
My mom said it to this day, like, so what did you go to school for? But I remember I tell this to everybody, because being bilingual is so difficult. In middle school, elementary, high school, the odds of you needing a dustpan and trying to transcribe that to your friends is likely never. But I was at my best friend's house one day, and I was sweeping, and I was like, oh, look at the thing so I can pick this up. And she's like, the dustpan? I was like, yeah. And in my head, I'm like, noted, it's a dustpan. Because I didn't know what the word was in English. I knew what it was in Paralishu. I knew what that was in Creole. Yeah. But I didn't know. I was like, I don't know how to tell her to give me the dustpan. But at the time...
You know what? You saying that? Here's the thing. The Haitian American urge to tell someone, close the light.
Oh,
when you mean turn off the light.
Because it's close the light. I don't even want to hear it. Don't correct me.
Because in Creole,
that means you're trying to correct my ancestors.
We say femme lumière means to close, but in English you say turn it off.
Yeah.
Right? You turn off the TV. You don't close the TV. You don't close the light. So there were even times that people pissed me off and my Haitian Creole slipped out. I said a few words in Creole and I'm like, I know the person like, what the fuck did Peggy just say? And I didn't cuss them out. It's just that you pissed me off that my brain switched off and started saying it in Creole instead of English. And I know I'm speaking to someone who only speaks English. Yeah. And it happens. Like, sometimes your brain misfires. It happens. So, but that part, I remember one time my friend was like, close the light. I mean, turn it off. You know what I mean? Turn it off.
I just roll my eyes like, because you know what the fuck I'm saying.
But it's still the thing. I'm telling you to turn the shit off. But yeah, it's happened so many times. So it's like, but now like.
What's another word? Close the light is definitely number one. Close the TV, close the light, close the stove. Oh, what? Close the stove. Oh, wait, no.
I said open the TV by accident because in English you say ouvert, and Creole you say ouvert TV. Yeah. So it means to open, but in Creole it says you say ouvert, but in English you say turn it on.
Yeah.
So open the TV.
I'm not changing that. Like, if I say it, do not correct me because you're telling me that it's like you correcting me.
At this point, anyone who's following our podcast or listening, and anyone who knows us, you know we come from foreign households, and it has slipped up.
Don't be fucking cute trying to correct me. Cause
you mean like, bitch, you know what I mean?
Don't you mean? Bitch, you know what the fuck I meant before I... Don't start with me.
And the craziest thing, too, I've had people say, you speak pretty good Creole, but my Creole is Americanized. Like, I sound like those people that be learning Spanish and they still have the English American accent. Like... Gracias de nada. Like, I sound like that to Haitian people who are naturally born in Haiti, and they speak Creole hardcore, and they're like, here comes this American. And I'm like,
my sister's the only one that can like speak it and no one correct her. Like fluent Cape-Verdeans will be like, oh, okay, she speaks good Creole. I'm like, we grew up in the same house. How do you have better vocabulary than
our lingo? Okay, prime example. My niece, born in Haiti, but she left Haiti at the age of 3. She speaks Creole, but I've been told by people who hear both of us speak Creole that I speak Creole better than she does, and I only step foot in Haiti periodically. I don't go in Haiti.
Is it because her mom obviously speaks English, right?
Her mom speaks Creole with us.
But she doesn't speak English?
She speaks English when she's at work.
Oh, I don't know.
But Creole, we grew up in a household with just people speaking Creole all damn day. You know, part of it too. The other thing I just learned by taking a ESL course for teacher purposes, when a child, if not even a child, when you migrate to another country under the age of 12, by the time you become an adult, you tend to lose the accent of your homeland country, and your English or whatever language you're speaking there is a little bit better. But when you come after the age of 14, the accent never goes away. I was wondering, like, some people have the accent, some people don't. It's the way the brain works. Do you think I have an accent?
Because some people say I have an accent.
I think I'm so used to, I don't know. I caught myself a few times that I've heard myself like, ooh, my little Haitian Creole accent's coming in a little bit.
Little Haiti came out.
Just a little bit. I think, I don't know. I would have to think back. I don't think so. Maybe I'm used to the way you talk. I don't.
Maybe. I mean, for someone who isn't bilingual, maybe they can hear it a little more. But Cape-Verdeans stretch out their words. Like, God. Like, we say that a lot. Like, this, like.
I thought I do it. I thought I'm like, oh my God, I do that.
We put the at the end.
Oh, Haitians. Okay.
Stop. Like, it's so annoying.
Haitians they try to put every letter. You see, every letter into the word. So,
but see, that's why I can read our language better, because how it sounds is how it's spelled.
So with Haitian Creole is the same way. See, this is what I was saying. So Haitian Creole is the same way.
Putting silent S's, silent L's, silent L's.
Xylophone with an X. It sounds like a Z. This is why it's confusing to children. Xylophone.
Especially immigrants who are trying to learn the language.
Like xylophone, Z? No, X, see?
Okay, so this is so sidetracked, but I remember I was repeating my email address to a vendor, and as I was gonna go, like, I was trying to say X. Some people say X-ray. I said xylophone, and everybody in the office was like, xylophone. Like, I was like, it has an X, right? But people they don't gravitate towards that word. They gravitate towards X-ray.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's a cop out.
So you know what I was gonna say too? I was gonna say, like, so with Haitians, they pronounce every syllable of the word. So like. Don't let them try to cuss you out. So, you know, we say motherfucker, they go motherfucker. Like, what? And I remember trying to correct my mother a few times. She said, I'm said, go class slim to Haiti. So pretty much telling me I went to school just because I'm not too profound in the English language. I'm not stupid. I'm not trying to call you stupid. I'm just saying this is not the right way to say it. Or like they try to, like, they always say your friend's name wrong. Like, they always say people's name wrong. I'm like, no, that's not how you say it. You say it this way.
How would they say my name?
Jessica?
Yeah.
Jessica?
Yeah.
Jessica.
Yes.
Don't someone that says Jessica? I'm like, yes, it's Jessica.
I'm dying.
But don't let it be a complicated name that we can probably pronounce like, okay, my ex, his name was Shane. My mother never said the name right. Sean? I'm like, what? Where do you get Sean from?
Ooh.
Sean? No.
I forgot how my mom pronounced Maxwell's name.
What she say?
Matt? I don't even know. I don't know. But I remember he goes to this clinic, and it's predominantly Vietnamese nurses. And so they go, Macwell.
There's certain letters in other languages that do not exist in their alphabets.
Yep.
So I remember one of my former roommates was telling me how in, I think it's the Vietnamese alphabet or the Chinese alphabet, they don't have R's. Yeah. So if your name has a R, it's gonna sound like her name was Mallory, and she said the owner of the dry cleaning place that she was working at, she's like, he never pronounced the R in my name. So instead of saying Mallory, he would say Malali. Malali. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like, I never understood why he never said the R. And that's the thing, like when we take the time to understand why certain names may not be able to be pronounced or whatever, because we have to understand some certain actual cultures do not have all the letters in the alphabet like we do. So we have to understand that. One.
I'm gonna have to push back on that because I refuse to allow someone to misspell. My name is super easy, but if I had like a very traditional African name, I'm gonna expect you to pronounce that shit.
That's different. That's different. But you have to understand, if the letter does not exist in that alphabet, I never know what it sounds like. That's different. When she explained that to me, I'm like, okay, I understand now, because there's Asian American actors, depending on where they're from, there's certain words they do not pronounce very well, and some of it's due to the lettering. They do not have that particular letter in the alphabet. We have to understand that. But what you're not gonna do, you're not gonna sit here and be able to pronounce Arnold Schwarzenegger, but can't pronounce a woman that's from Africa or a certain part of
her. Or what
they can say all the German names in the freaking book, but when it comes to a person who's from Nigeria or Ghana, they can't say their name right. Oh, can you say it again? Like whenever I get my students roster, I have more Hispanic students than I ever did before. I will practice out their names and I say, hey guys, I'm gonna say your names. Correct me to say your government first before you give me your nickname. Don't give me your nickname. I want to say your name. After I say the name, I say, would you prefer? You prefer your government or you prefer a nickname? And I'll go at whatever they say. I'm not skipping over it. I'm not saying, no, we gotta learn to try. Because they only do that to our black and brown people, like skipping over our names. Our names mean something. It was given to us for a reason.
Ron.
Huh?
Ron. You ever see that skit?
No.
Pete and Keel or something.
Keel and Peel.
Whatever.
I know them. I love
Ken and Peel something. When he was like, Ron, he's like, my name's Aaron.
I just snorted. No. Their skits be funny. I like the Obama one he did one year.
Oh my god, the best because it's so accurate.
It's so accurate, but no, like, and pretty much at one point we're their ears and their eyes, like especially if they want us to enunciate certain words. So there's certain things like my father, both of my parents love watching Family Feud. They love watching Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune because that's how they were able to build up their vocabulary. My grandfather loves Family Feud. Once 2 p.m. hits or 3 p.m. hits, if the TV's not on that,
my mother is savage because now that you're over here talking, my mom's favorite shows was what's those three Three Stooges.
My father loved that.
And
Bugs Bunny.
Wrestling.
My grandmother loved wrestling. God.
I don't remember seeing, if it's not those two things, my mom was watching novellas. Yes.
My mother loved her soap operas growing up, when I was growing up. But wrestling, my grandmother loved. She loved all the Steven Seagal movies. A Time to Kill, we always had that shit rewinded VHS, playing it over. I'm like, Grandma, we just literally watched
and anything scary. So like the Chucky movie, Freddy Krueger,
I'm surprised Haitians be like, I don't want that devil movie stuff in this house.
My mom was kind of scary now that I think about it. She liked scary movies and she liked wrestling and people like inflicting pain on each other. Like,
that's why she be knocking your ass out when you was growing up.
I'm telling you, she was a fucking monster.
We are literally, us first generation children of immigrants, we are their eyes and their ears. Like certain things they do not understand, they're coming straight to us to help them with it. Even if you just literally show them 5 minutes ago, they're gonna come back again. Like whenever my mother gets a new cell phone, forget about it. Every time
at this
I show
point,
up,
you need to just like tape the buttons that she's never gonna use.
But no, she wanted an iPhone, so she got the iPhone.
We tried that. That didn't work. My mom was like, give me a phone.
I'm like, you keep bothering me, I'm going to put you on one of the government assistance phones because you keep bothering. You're going to have to go back to pressing buttons again because you're getting on my nerves with this touch. Like, it doesn't do that. Like, you have to apply pressure. It goes with the touch of your finger, Mom. Yeah. So, my father, he's good to go with the phone. Yeah. But, yeah, we're like literally their eyes and ears and stuff.
With their voices.
With their voices, we have to speak up for them, especially when things are not going right or if we feel like someone's playing them. And a few times I had to check my mom. I'm like, Mommy, don't say when the doctor is saying certain things if you don't understand it. That's why they have interpreters. So if you have to come here on your own, or whatever, say you want an interpreter. Even though you may understand it, but you want to be able to express the pain that you have so your doctor can understand it, because there's certain words missing from your English vocabulary. Some doctors are hip and
honestly, our parents will never fucking learn.
No, they're hard-headed. They're stuck in their
my
ways.
mom used to be like, you know, if you're not feeling well, let us know. So there was one time she was in so much pain, and she stayed up all night. She didn't sleep, and then it was like 8 o'clock when my brother got up. She was like, hey, can you like call the ambulance because I'm not feeling well. He's like, okay, well, like, what happened? What are you feeling? She's like, yeah, since last night. He said, since last night? He's like, man, when were you gonna, she's like, oh, you guys were sleeping. I didn't want to wake you up. My mother's waking me up. She's waking me up. My mom was like, I didn't want to wake you up. And I was just like, what? Mm-hmm. And I'm pretty sure she made my brother breakfast too. Because she's in pain. Because she gets fluid build up in her chest. Mm-hmm. And so, like, it's really hard for her to breathe. And so she was sitting up the whole night. She did not sleep the whole night. My brother's like, can you believe your fucking mother? We be going in on her. And then when my brother puts some, like, restrictions on her diet and stuff, she'll call us. She's like, your brother won't let me eat, like, flan. And I'm just like, you're not supposed to eat flan. Stop calling me.
Here's the thing. Another thing I wanted to add before we wrap it up is, like, damn it, it slipped my mind. It's like, you're trying to tell them to do things. Like, my mother's good at giving everybody advice. Mm-hmm. Health advice at that. But I'm like, lady.
She is a doctor.
She's the doctor. Like, she went to med school. But she's standing here on her feet. One of her foot is swollen. I'm like, you need to sit down. Go take a shower and lay your ass down. Like, it's like I'm her mother. Like, mm-hmm. And if she's still walking, I'm like, what did I tell you? Like, the other day, I was like, what? Didn't I just tell you to go take a shower and go lay down? Like, literally. She's like, this is her. Don't let Haitian say this. Listen. Am I the child and you're the mother? I'm like, well, it seems like that. So yeah. Is like literally, wait a minute. You think you're talking to?
Yeah.
So I'm
that's
like,
legitimately like.
I'm like, you're not listening. You're complaining about being in pain. You're tired. You're exhausted. Who you going doing that? Who are you making feel
good?
Who
are you proving?
What are you proving? All your children are old, way beyond adulthood. Yeah. They can fend for themselves. I can fend for myself. I'm not a baby anymore. Yeah. Yes, I am still your baby, but I'm not a baby. I'm 35.
Yep.
I can fend for myself. So for you, you're doing all this for who? For what? Take care of yourself first. She never learns how to say no. I'm like, you need to start saying no. There are times people where I'm like, no, she's not going to do it. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I remember the pandemic. We was like, my mom is very, like, she cannot get COVID. Like, that's just not an option for her. And so they kept her in house lock. Like, you're not going anywhere. She's like, but I need to go to the bank. The man needs to be like, how much money do you need? I'll send it to you. Mm-hmm. They was like, oh, I want to go to the grocery store. What do you need from the grocery store? I'll get it for you. It was like she couldn't do anything. Like, she couldn't leave the house at all. And that's why I did the bedroom renovation for her, because I'm like, it needs to be comfortable. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's so funny because she's like, I can't believe I'm the child and you're the parent now. Yes. Like, yes, because you're hard-headed.
That's why I can say you become a child twice.
Yeah. When you're born and when you're about to go.
Yeah, so, like, I'm like, you're not listening to me. And I'm like, damn, was I this hard-headed as a kid? Like, I wasn't this bad. No. I was just a little rebellious. That's it. But no, like, love my parents. Did I agree how they were raising me? Not 100%. You know, some of it when you realize, like, damn, you putting all this fear in me not to do certain things has hindered me from doing certain things that I would be great at.
I think you're working through that. I feel like I'm still letting it affect me and control my life. But we're working through it. We're getting through it.
Humans are work in progress. We evolve. That's the whole purpose. They're supposed to evolve. If you're still trying to use the excuse that that's just how I am, or use the excuse of something that happened to you when you were 12 and now you're damn near 45, that's on you. You got to work through your shit. And there are plenty of resources out here, because mental health, we realize it is very important. I don't care what nobody else says. You can't pray out of your mental health.
And praying can help. One thing we're going to do, every episode we're going to mention taking care of your mental health.
And I think I said it in not the last podcast in regards to pet peeves. I think I said it before that. We know all the other parts of our bodies, like the heart, the lungs, they're organs, right? We gotta treat the brain as an organ.
This controls everything.
This controls everything. So if this ain't right, how you expect the rest of your body to go? The moment this goes down, everything goes down. Yeah. So why do you think when you go brain dead, they have machines to keep the rest of the body going? Because the brain, once they let
Period. That's a good analogy.
You see? So your brain is important. So it's an organ.
She's also a science teacher.
Once your brain goes, once the mental part ain't right, the body will follow. That's why when you know mentally you ain't in the right space to do anything, tend to that.
Yeah.
Treat the brain as that organ.
Will rearrange your whole body and how it's structured.
Yes.
So I mean, we are going to digress at this point because
But yes,
we are. I'm proud to be a Cape Verdean. I am proud to be a child of a first generation immigrant. I contribute everything about me, my personality, my everything about me, the way I come at, the way I show up as a friend, the way I show up as a sister, a daughter, a godmother, aunt. I contribute that all to my culture, my nationality, and I couldn't be prouder. I fucking love being Cape Verdean. I would never change anything. And yeah.
I really love being Haitian. Was it a struggle growing up? People bullying me based off of.
I remember those years, and I'm sorry. I never bullied you, but I was a child, so.
No, Jessica never bullied me, but I've seen
I was
people.
like, I got enough on me for y'all to bully me, so I need to deflect.
I've seen the shit that people dealt with being Haitian and, you know, not looking Haitian and all that.
It was,
stuff.
when we were in middle school, it was the worst thing to be called. Like, the worst thing to be called.
Haitian, oh God.
Like, and I'm not even going to repeat the things that were said as we were children. But now, I'm like, the culture is so celebrated and so, like, appreciated.
People want to be those now, like.
Yeah, like, I mean, all my friends, 90% of my friends are Haitian, so whatever.
One thing I forgot to mention is that growing up culturally in a Haitian household with the church part is like, one thing I didn't like about the Haitian church is that as teenagers, I can only speak from the Haitian church I experienced, and the few that my friends told me about that they experienced, is like always being put down, like, oh, you know, the kids are doing this, don't let them do this, don't let them do that, if you let them do this, they're gonna lose the way. But it's like, you're pushing us away. And then when you have a pastor that only preaches in Haitian Creole, it's like, yeah, I speak Haitian Creole at home, but when you're trying to have me understand the word of God or whatever, you only speak in Creole. I don't understand some of the lingo. I don't know the little, you know how in America you have your sarcastic sayings? They have it in Haitian Creole. Some of it I don't get. I'm 14. How am I supposed to understand it? So as I got older, I deviated from the Haitian church, started going to an American church. I'm like, okay, I understand it now. I get it a little better. I get that. Because, yes, I grew up speaking Haitian Creole all the time, but English is the main language for me. That's what I read. I write it. I can do anything in English, American English, better than I can in Haitian Creole. But I love being Haitian. I love the fact that our culture is beautiful. We're rich in our culture. I love, especially fully understanding that we were the first to break free from slavery and fend for our own. And then we have to pay. We're still paying for it till this day. I don't care what nobody says.
Bullshit.
France owe Haiti billions of dollars. You know, even though I wanted to always go see Paris, France, but France, honey, you're gonna have to cough up some money. And
I'm not putting money into your fucking shit if you owe my ancestors money.
Yeah, that's why I haven't stepped foot over there. So yeah, France, you owe Haiti money, pay them their money. America,
you another subject.
You another subject, because ooh, child, America, you in danger, girl. You in danger. You in danger, honey.
You on fire.
But yes, I love the fact that even though like we experience some of the same things, but like certain things are a little different culturally and stuff like that. And the funny thing is, all the West Indian islands plus Africa, the continent of Africa, even here in America, like, we may use different seasonings, but we know for a fact the way we're supposed to clean certain things and cook it, it might be cooked a little different, a step might be switched, but it's like, hey, I know that dish. Like, I remember Facebook had a clip, a little sit-in where they had some people from parts of Africa, I don't remember what country, and they were trying Haitian food. And some of the wording of the food, they say, hey, we call this back home. Yes. And it's crazy. It's like, oh my God, you know what? Haiti's our sister country.
I wish I could remember some of the Cape Verdean foods that we have that other cultures eat that I didn't know other cultures eat. I thought it was just a Cape Verdean thing. And I was like, oh, okay.
They just call it differently, and they might use a different type of seasoning. But as always, you know, we got to end our podcast.
That was a
episode.
lot.
It was a lot, but it was fun. It wasn't
That's
like
30 years of knowledge.
That's the most we know. We know.
Years.
This is our experience. But we always try to end the the episode with a business shout out per usual. This week's business shout out is It's a Vibe 360. I used this 360 for
I was dying. I was like, that's the quote?
No.
Legitimately, I was like, that's the quote?
No, that's the business
I'm not listening.
So definitely check her out. She only has an IG page. It's the IG is it's a vibe _360. Actually, she was at my birthday graduation event. The 360 booth, dope, had a good time. It was different from the typical photo booth taking pictures, so it's different. So I had a good time. So for any events or parties you're thinking of having, check her IG page out. Very, very professional, very good person.
Yeah, exactly.
And we also have her quote. Do you want me to read it?
No.
Okay.
We are all immigrants, but some people have forgotten that.
Yep.
Remind yourself. Check yourself. And I said again from the beginning, like, subscribe, click that bell notification, comment,
share.
Tell us what you think. Tell us your experience being if you are a first generation immigrant, a child of a first generation immigrant.
Yeah.
I'm curious to know, like, do you relate to what what we've shared? Because I'm sure
we're not the only ones.
No, I know for a fact that's not the case. But anyways, we love you guys.
Until next time. Peace.